Good morning and happy Thanksgiving. I want to wish everyone a pleasant day, and I hope you enjoy whatever food you end up eating. I'm actually making this to talk about Black Friday and why it might be more impactful than in years past. Now, I don't know if you keep up with the news, but President-elect Donald Trump has been talking about levying some tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and China. And those are some of our main trading partners. In America, we don't make nearly as much as we used to compared to like the old days, such as the 1950s. A lot of the stuff that we have is imported. You go to Walmart, everything's made in China. A lot of our vehicles now come from Mexico. So yeah, and tariffs essentially mean that when you go to purchase something, it's going to cost you more money. And I'm a little bit of a cheapskate. Like if I don't have to pay more, I'm not going to. Fun story though, because I wasn't even planning on doing a big Black Friday shopping this year. But I was going to originally purchase a toaster oven for my workplace. I was going to bring it in, and I thought to get a Breville. They're really nice toaster ovens, probably the best that are out there. I first purchased one for myself when I was living in Arizona, maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. From what I've read online, they don't last forever. Like you can expect a solid 5 years, and after that, any time you have with it is just bonus time. But they are pricey. The one I was looking at was the Air Fryer Pro, and that was about $400. With Black Friday, it was going to be $300. And so I sort of slept on it because if I'm going to make a moderate purchase decision, I'll just kind of go to bed and wake up the next morning with a clear head to make that kind of decision. And, I just realized when I woke up the next morning that there were some factors that led to me not purchasing that item. Number one, that if I brought it in to work and I left it there, people just would not clean it, they would abuse it, it would be broken probably in 3 years. And number two was going to be that, that was a nicer kitchen appliance than things that I actually have in my own house. And hearing about the tariffs, thinking back to my kitchen, the light bulb kind of went on. Maybe about 6 to 8 months ago, I thought about upgrading all the appliances in my kitchen, and I didn't really do that because I actually like the devices in my kitchen. For instance, my refrigerator is 22 years old. It's a Frigidaire. It's been working and working and working. That kind of reliability is really rare nowadays. So I'm appreciative of the quality and the design of that refrigerator. Although it has no commercial value, nobody would pay me money to possess that refrigerator, right? Like, yeah, it just wouldn't happen. And it's really hideously ugly. It's an old, white, basic model refrigerator. It doesn't do ice, doesn't do water. It just works forever. In fact, it's even quite energy efficient. I priced it against the new refrigerator that I ended up purchasing, and I will pay $10 more a year in electricity costs compared to the old one. So that's really saying something for how well designed they were. But the new refrigerator, it'll save me a little bit of time when I open the doors. Everything will be right there. You won't have to look around. I'm taller, so I'm always looking down at an angle. I won't have to try to remember where I put something. I'll actually be able to see it when I open up those doors. And it'll just be kind of cool. Plus, it'll look nice, too. People would come into my kitchen, and no one was ever impressed with it. People would be like, because my refrigerator just, it doesn't look pretty. Even on the outside, it's just beat up. I also have a cooktop from General Electric. It's a coil cooktop, and it's worked. That thing's like 30 plus years old. It is an old cooktop that just never stops working. The coils, they go out every now and then, and you replace them, but that's not even a huge deal. But the problem with the cooktop that has coils is you have to have catch pans underneath it, and they are a pain in the butt to clean. Like it takes a lot of, sometimes after you're done cooking, you just don't clean it. You leave. I'm done. Clean it once a week or something, right? And then you have to walk past it and you see that it's dirty and it's upsetting, but at the same time too, you have places to be and you can't spend all day cleaning your cooktop. But with the new induction cooktops that are glass, it's one wipe and it's done and it's clean. And I love that idea. Not to mention they're about 10 to 15% more energy efficient. And if you can't tell, these are, all the ideas that I gave myself to rationalize the purchases. I did want to get a new oven, but the problem with the oven that I have is it's a wall oven. That's also multiple years old, General Electric, back when they used to be really, really good. But it's a smaller oven. It's a unique fit, and I can't find anything that would just go into the slot. I would have to call out a carpenter and have them, custom design something for me, which would just dramatically blow out the cost. I do want the true convection ovens of today that have steam cleaning capabilities, that have air frying capabilities, but I'm just going to live with the oven I have now. It's funny because it's got two elements. It's got a top element and a bottom element, and the bottom element has been busted since I got here. And but it's a $20 fix that I can do myself. And so I guess when I get that done, the oven will be 50% better than it used to be, but it still worked fine anyways. But oddly enough, though, for an oven as old as it is, like my cooktop is not visually appealing with the coils and everything, and the refrigerator is beat up and ugly looking. The oven actually is aesthetically pleasing. Like when I put everything else new in the kitchen, it'll belong, it'll fit. So that's pretty neat. And I would caution, though, if you're watching this video, don't go out on some sort of panic shopping spree. Know the price of the things you're buying, like the historical price. If you're going to buy goods on Amazon, for instance, there are websites such as Camel. It's a price tracker, and I always use it myself. I want to make sure I'm getting a good deal on what I'm buying, and not that they've just jacked up the price, and then for the holiday, they've, given it a deal. Think of Kohl's, right? Like when the jeans come in off of the truck, they are on paper like $100 jeans, but Kohl's marks them down to 50%. The reality is those jeans are always sold at 50%. They were never, not even for a single day, sold at 100%. It's just a marketing gimmick to make you think you're getting a deal. So be mindful of the historical price of the goods that you're going to purchase. And another worry I have with imports, because I'm not the only person who's discussing the effect of tariffs on goods. There are other people now out there shopping. They're shopping for the same reasons that I'm discussing with you currently. Don't end up in a situation where you're overpaying for something because you're like, I've got to have it. It's going to be more expensive in the future, so I have to get it now. Think of the Toyota Prius. We'll just use this as an example. All of the Priuses are built in Japan, so they're all imports. Generation 5 is what's new and being sold, and tariffs don't apply to used goods, just new goods that are brought into America. So a Generation 5 Toyota Prius base model MSRP, I think, is about $30,000. In December of this year, it'll be $30,000 perhaps, and I don't have a crystal ball. There's no way of knowing if imports will actually happen or not, or if it's just a negotiating tactic or a bluff. I don't want to pay more, so I'm just not going to risk it if I can get the things I want on sale, which is a great reason to shop for Black Friday. But so in December, the Prius would be $30,000 MSRP, January 20th, if the tariffs were going into effect. And I didn't even hear Japan mentioned. We're just using it as an example. But let's say that we were going to levy a 20% tariff on Japan. That would result in the price going from $30,000 to $36,000. So you're going to have a lot of people who maybe are Prius fans rushing down to the dealership to buy one in December. And that price, the MSRP, is going to start at $30,000, but when the dealership realizes that everybody wants one, they're going to mark it up to $35,000. And then a week later, as the demand is just crazy strong, there are only so many Priuses that can be built and shipped into the United States before tariffs would go into effect. They'd be like, well, hey, let's just jack it up to $40,000, right? So then you're paying $10,000 over MSRP. So yeah, don't go too crazy. And another warning that I always have to tell people, especially this time of year, it really amazes me how many people go into credit card debt. Don't go into credit card debt. ARP, annual percent, APR, right? I think on credit cards is 18 to 25%. It's always crazy, ludicrous levels. Please don't go into credit card debt where you're paying, like if you pay off your credit card every month, and you don't carry a balance, then you're a responsible spender, and you're fine doing that. But the last thing you want to do is be saddled with long-term credit card debt where you're paying whatever, whether it be 10% or 25%. You don't want to do that. So avoid. Now, there are some things that you can kind of play around with, though. Credit cards, if you're going to go out and take a new one, for instance, they will have introductory deals like, hey, sign up for a credit card. We're going to give you bonus air miles, or we'll give you cash back. You have to read the fine print, though. It's usually that you have to spend a certain amount within a certain period of time. So it might be you have to spend $4,000 in the first 6 months or maybe the first 3 months. So if you're not going to hit that spend amount, you wouldn't want to grab a card like that. Also, another bonus that some of the credit cards have when you sign up for them is that they'll have an introductory period where it'll be 0% APR, where they will not charge you interest. Maybe it's for the first 6 months or the first year. In that instance, I'm less opposed to people purchasing things with that credit card and then making payments every single month to get that bill paid off before the no interest period expires. So just be smart about how you spend money. Don't go into debt. Don't do panic shopping. There's still going to be plenty of things out there. But, hey, if your washing machine is on its last legs, maybe now's a good time to buy a new one, right? I actually did look at my own washing machine, and it's completely fine. So, yeah. Oh, well, I hate encouraging people to spend a ton of money because not everyone's responsible, except if it's on soap. If it's on soap, go crazy, right? Yeah, can't go wrong with that because you're always going to be clean and you're going to smell great. So anyways, I think that pretty much covers everything. So I want to thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.